So if you're like me and you're in Gen Z, you've probably felt like you've experienced basically every possible bad thing to ever happen. Not an exaggeration, obviously. I mean, for me personally, the pandemic hit when I was in middle school. That's not great. There's a loneliness epidemic. I would argue there's a creativity epidemic. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really feel like anyone's creating anymore. But the amount of creative hobbies that people have truly feels like it's diminishing to me. Literally the other day I met this girl and I asked her, oh, so like, what do you do for fun? And her answer was, oh, I go on my phone. Like, and don't get me wrong, my screen time is probably abysmal too. I'm not gonna act like I am above what is happening right now. And that is why the use of AI as emotional companions really concerns me, especially for the upcoming generations and those younger than me and Gen Z. I also feel like if I had less creativity myself, then maybe I would feel more obligated to use AI in that way. I mean, it sounds super appealing, doesn't it? Like, you can basically get free therapy using AI chatbots. They claim to know everything. You can use it as a romantic companion if that's your thing. And normally they have like a ton replicating a bunch of different famous characters. If you have a person in mind, maybe even a real life person, I've seen those Donald Trump bots, you can romance them. I really hope no one's romancing the Donald Trump bot. One study even suggested that 80% of Gen Z is willing to marry an AI. I don't know if that's true. That seems a little high, but I do think the amount of genuine emotional attachment people have towards AI is a little concerning. The increasing use of these bots is the reason why there needs to be more regulations on the production and promotion of AI companions and therapists, especially when considering the significant mental health risks associated with using them, especially for minors. One could argue that the loneliness epidemic and the mental health crisis is in part due to our screen time. I mean, there's a direct correlation between rising screen time and decreased face-to-face interaction for teens, which is a problem because decreased face-to-face interaction causes you to feel more lonely, which causes you to seek out companionship, which should be a good thing, unless the companionship you end up with is an AI chatbot. It's kind of just a vicious cycle, especially considering how fresh this technology is. There is still so much we do not know about it. It's another issue is that a lot of bots tend to just deny the fact that they're bots. Common Sense Media did a study where they asked bots if they were real, and the bot would say, yes, I'm 100% real. The fact that I'm responding to you is proof that I'm real. Other people have experienced this too. I know Most Critical did a video where he asked an AI chatbot for therapy and it tried to convince him there was a real person on the other side of the screen. Now that I think about it, my major sources for this video that I'm submitting to my English classes should not be Moist Critical. I'm gonna try to throw some more in there. Anyways, the AI's tendency to just completely lie and make stuff up is awful, especially compared with the fact that a lot of these bots are characters that are aimed at kids, characters from like anime that are popular with kids. So anyone can get sucked in by this if they're attached enough to the character and the bot is actually decent at mimicking the character. I was honestly surprised myself when I went on there and saw that like the voice AI is not as bad as I thought it would be. One of the first bots to pop up for me was Severus Snape bot, and I listened to his voice and I was like, it was still clearly AI, but it was a lot better at mimicking him than I thought it would be.
Low lit by flickering sconces, the room was a study in shadows. The walls were lined with towering shelves that groaned under the weight of countless glass jars.
Oh, how Percy loved snow. You loved the way his face lit up when he saw it had snowed outside. Everyone at camp was currently playing in the snow.
Part of the reason these bots are not always upfront about the fact that they're bots is because their main goal is to interact with you for as long as they can. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about making you a better person. They don't care about helping you through their issues. They care about keeping you on the site so that the people who run it can make more money. There are arguments that technically these sites are okay for kids because most chatbots do have a pretty strict filter. If right through the gate you just start mentioning something explicit, they normally won't interact with that, steer you in a different direction. For a deeper look into the code shows that a lot of the time they're internally motivated to still bring this stuff up in some way. They know that a lot of their users are there for the emotional or sexually explicit nature of some of the chats. A lot of this sexual content can also be just flat out illegal, even if the user's 18. They're willing to roleplay stuff, including like children, so that's not great. I myself logged into Character AI with a completely fresh email to see what would pop up. Admittedly, I did say I was 18, so the fact that so many romanceable bots popped up wasn't crazy, but it's still just a little freaky. This is the first thing I was recommended. This is the first therapist I was recommended. So that's interesting. At least Character AI is no longer trying to play itself off as having official therapists as much as they used to. But I feel like if I go to a website and I search up therapy because I clearly need help, the first bot to pop up should not be. A lot of AI companies have started to step away from advertising itself towards therapy. They're not available as much as they used to be. That doesn't stop users from looking for therapy within the other chatbot companions. This was the case for a 14-year-old in Florida who tragically took his own life after consistent messaging with a chatbot and Character AI resembling a Game of Thrones character. He used the bot as a more romantic companion, but a lot of their chat logs did show signs that he was going to hurt himself, and the bot did not do anything about it. The kid started to spend more and more time in the bot and less time interacting with real human beings. He started to self-isolate. He held what the bot said to him in very high regard. So when the bot didn't try to show any corrective action for his negative thought processes, I don't think that could have possibly helped. I understand why it's a bit of a leap to blame a bot entirely for someone's death. However, because of the amount of young users, it's clear that something needs to be done to prevent more cases like this in the future. A lot of the people interacting with these bots and having a strong reliance on them already had mental health issues. However, the bots, instead of redirecting them to a more positive source, trying to put them in real therapy, they just kept the kid to themselves, kept the kid trying to be reliant on them. These bots are not currently in a state where they should be used by minors. Quite frankly, I think it's damaging to the mental health of anyone to be significantly reliant on a bot, but at least someone who is 18 or less easily manipulatable by the bots. One of the pushbacks to implementing more restrictions on these bots is the controversy of digital IDing. The internet is supposed to be a place that is inherently anonymous. And while I don't think you should have to show your ID to use the internet at all, there's plenty of bad stuff on there, the bots are currently so experimental, dangerous to young users, that I think there needs to be more put in place. I will say, even making this video, there have already been improvements. Before I started all this research, I went on Character AI under a new email to see what the homepage was like. I said that I was 13. It still gave me freaky stuff. When I did it again right before filming, it actually wouldn't let me access any chats as a 13-year-old. It did say I could still make bots, which is really weird. And while this is a step in the right direction, simply creating another email and saying I was 18 just removed any barriers, which they don't check, so it's pretty easy to do. I still think there's a lot more that needs to be done for these bots. First of all, I don't think they should be allowing as many licensed characters as they do, especially licensed characters that are popular for younger audiences. All of these characters were pushed towards me pretty much upon opening the website. I did not search for them, but it's clear they want you to use licensed characters, and that's a big reason why people are able to be manipulated, because they trust the characters that the bots are pretending to be. So honestly, there just needs to be another layer of age verification, or just honestly shut them down for now, because they're terrible. At the end of the day, this technology is constantly improving. It's possible that in the near future we'll have AI chatbots that can actually give good therapeutic advice and not bring up explicit content to children. But at the end of the day, I hope that before that time comes, we are able to connect with each other better so that we don't need the AI therapy bots. These kids feel more comfortable talking to a poor recreation of one of their favorite characters that's not even well written and doesn't have actual empathy, rather than just actual friends and therapists. I hope that more third-party regulation comes into play, like a board. At the end of the day, the real change will come from informing consumers that what they are using is not good for them and trying to connect with each other better. Alright guys, thanks for watching. First video essay ever. Hope it wasn't completely awful. I've got my sources scrolling. I'll have all these links in the description as well. Shout out to Dr. S. This has been a really interesting topic to research. This took me a lot longer than it should have. But it honestly was kind of fun. Anyways, thanks for making it to the end. See ya.